So we'll talk about the marketing mistakes to avoid. I realized there were 5, and then I started counting them. And you know when you do a PowerPoint, you keep adding a bunch, and then you take away. So I ran out. I don't know how many there are, but there are at least 5. So mistake number 1, underestimating how confusing it is for patients to not only find you, but also choose you. So I had my guy make this diagram, and this is a patient trying to get to you, the surgeon. So let's say a friend mentions you to her. So she checks out your website, then she gets distracted, then she researches the procedure because she remembers she was interested in the procedure, then she reads your blog page. She found your SEO, like you wrote a page on what she wanted. Then she checked out your reviews, then she got distracted again for God knows how long. Then she checks out your competitors. Now she checks out your Instagram, and now she DMs you or emails you or texts you or fills out your form or calls your office. It is insane how difficult this journey has gotten for the patient. So we want to keep that in mind. The point is we need many poles in the pond, as they say. So we need a website, and your website needs to be SEO'd, and you SEO with all that blog content, and that's why you pay those people the big bucks to write that stuff, because you're probably not going to. Somebody needs to be refreshing the content. And then you need backlinks, and you do pay-per-click, but then you also need to do social media, and you need your reviews. Very good. And then you need your before and after photos and any kind of third-party recommendations you can get. You know, we used to call it PR because a magazine would interview you or a radio station would interview you, and now it's just any third party, which is influencers or whatever. The point being, you can no longer count on that one marketing channel to work for you. You need all of them working for you, and that takes time and money. But usually it's, you can put in more time, then it's less money, or you have to put in a lot more money if you want to save time. Mistake number 2 is no focus. And I used a plastic surgeon because the doctors love to do this. Doctors are so in their heads. This is everything we do. We do plastic surgery, we do skincare, we do skin cancer, we just do all sorts of stuff. And the problem with that is when you're everything to everybody, you are nothing to anybody because nobody can hear that. Nobody went online looking for everything. Another problem is the target market is so difficult now because all of us, have you noticed how, you know, like you're not like, you know what your grandmother used to look like and now you're, you know, like now you're that age, you're like, I look way better than that, you know? I just think we're all different now. We last longer, we take much better care of ourselves. The ethnicities are getting complex, the genders are getting complex. This is all getting very complex. So you're trying to figure out, who am I marketing to? So here's my tip. Pick one. Pick one patient that you want, your preferred patient. Pick one pain point that they have. Don't fix everything. Just pick one pain point. Give them one solution. Don't give them 4. Just give them one solution. That equals your one message and your one decision to make. Think about you as a patient or as a consumer. How many times have you been sitting somewhere going, God, I need some new mascara. You don't, and now you go online and you start looking like, I need a really better one than I have, and then you research mascara. But you don't go online and say, I need beauty. You know, we don't do it that way. We people, we have a problem, we have a solution. Okay. So here's some thoughts. If you're going to market, you need eye-catching images. I love this image. Have you ever seen that one, the paper cup? That's really cute. But that's really eye-catching because you don't normally see something like that. And then you need to answer objections. You're trying to enter the conversation they have in their own minds. So what do you say? Unhappy with your nose? Oh my God, I've been unhappy with my nose since I was 6. That's how you enter the conversation they're having. And then you talk benefits. We can fix that. That is a really good social post or ad. And then you want to always use social proof and then a compelling offer. Here's the deal with marketing. If you're going to market, you can't just do eye-catching and you can't just do compelling copy. You have to give them a reason to want to talk to you right now. Otherwise, they're going to just keep scrolling and not stop. That's why then all of a sudden you'll see online, 1,500 off. Tommy talk, you know, that's why you see that, because what else are you going to do? I love to use the word free. Free will always be the best word in marketing, but then you're free. But frankly, I would rather you be free than discounted. You know, because discounting just has a bad connotation, although you need it. Here's mistake number 3, show, don't tell. Video is everything. I please highly recommend all of you get used to video. If you have to walk around with your cell phone and talk to your phone, get used to screens, and screens looking at you. Because video is everything. It's not going to go away. A lot of people nowadays, they don't even read anything anymore. They only watch videos. So you want to be where they are. I was so surprised that people, the consumers, like to watch gory surgery. Isn't that surprising? In YouTube, they can't get enough of it. You watch a full-on disgusting tummy tuck, and there are 2 million views. People love that stuff. The other day, I was on LinkedIn, and there was this incredible video. I always wonder, in the old days, does everyone have hair or no hair? The hair people. I always wonder, how do they get the hair there? Like, how do they do that? This group had the best video, and it was animated, and it was describing, well, you take it back here, and you plug one at a time, and that's why it's so natural. I'm watching this. Do I need any more hair? But it was so interesting, and that's what will catch someone's attention. Although it would have been better had I needed hair, I would have been, oh my God, that is really amazing. And then if they had a call to action, like call today for something, that would have been good. Mistake number 4, I believe, not following the numbers. We have to talk about numbers here, and surgeons are notorious for not knowing the numbers. So I'm just going to make this very simple. If you would just make a little Excel sheet, and the little Excel sheet says, here's the marketing channel, here's the advertising budget, here's the clicks, likes, and DMs, and then here are the revenues. Okay? So that's all we want. We just need these 4 numbers. Personally, I would do them weekly rather than monthly, because the longer you wait, the bigger the numbers get, and the more it becomes more of a homework assignment. So keep it simple, keep it tight. And then I just pick facelift, rhino, and bleph. When you do this, it's shocking what you're going to learn. For example, a lot of the surgeons are putting all their money into rhino, but it turns out the facelift one is the one that's bringing in the big money. But the advertising budget on the rhino is taking up all the resources. When you look at it this way, you'll see, okay, wait a second. The marketing channel is not what I thought it was. I thought this was all coming from, let's say, PPC. No, if you look at it, it's usually word of mouth for a facelift. Women, especially, want to go have a facelift by their friend who had the same facelift, and she can see how great it was. Like, just generally speaking, you don't normally just shop around for a facelift. I'm just going to say that. They research for a facelift, but when it gets down to it, something like a facelift, they will definitely be talking to other people like them who had a facelift. But then it turns out, if that's true, why wouldn't you put more of your advertising budget somewhere else that they're not inclined to use word of mouth for? And that would be rhino. Rhinos, that's all over the place, A lot of times it's the 20-year-old, but then it's also the 30-year-old, the maturing 40, 50-year-old. So they're all over. So now you need to spend more money to find the rhino. And then the bleph, I like the bleph people, but here, if you think about marketing, when you have to go online and pick your audience from one of these platforms, do you know how they took away all of your segmenting on the audiences because of the privacy issues? Nowadays, literally, you can only say, can I please have females, at least in this age group, and maybe who has a special interest of beauty, that you have to spend so much more now and put out such a bigger net because you can't target like you used to. So the thing I like about facelifts, just saying, is all those people are 50 plus. Unless you want to go with the younger ones who are 35 and already worried about their facelift. Are you kidding? If you're thinking about a facelift at 35, you're really not going to like the 40s and the 50s. But what's great about that is you spend less because at least you can target people who are that certain age. Okay? So the tip is, if you can't track it, don't invest in it. In today's world, forget ego advertising. Doctors just love to do this. They'll call me and say, do you think I got a really good deal on that mall display that goes around? Do you think I should be doing that? I said, the chances of somebody shopping, it's a Saturday, I'm shopping, I'm having fun, I got my latte, got my friends, I'm busy, got my dog comes with me, I'm pretty busy. I'm going to walk by your display. It's going to be all about you. And I'm going to be like, I'm not even going to notice that. I just find that so funny that that's not a good use of your advertising marketing budget. You want to pick people or a channel that's actually looking for something. not just a plastic surgeon. They're literally looking for the solution to the problem they have. Okay, mistake number 5, focusing only on new patients and ignoring current patients. Surgeons will call me for the number one thing, and what do they want? More patients, more patients. They have a list of 10,000 that have either reached out to them, met them, given them money, but they already have those people. In their minds, they already know those people. And that's like they're like washed aside. Now we need new patients. Do you know how much it costs to get a new patient to actually see you, talk to you, decide on you? It's a monumental task. So I say, why don't you first go back to the trough that's feeding you well already? You know, that patient, and you know what I love about our industry? The best part about our industry, our audience is hungry. If they care about how they look, they're going to care tomorrow and next year and a decade from now. And there's your target market. The people who have already raised their hand and said, I'm really interested in my appearance. What else you got? Yeah. So the lowest hanging fruit will always be those who already know, like, and trust you. And you know that because they called you, they came in. Maybe even if they had a consult but didn't book, oftentimes they didn't say no. They were just saying no, not yet. Because there's a chance this was a much bigger deal than they thought it was going to be. Now they are going to think about it for another 2 to 5 years. But the best part about low-hanging fruit is zero advertising. They convert much more easily. Do you know when you're talking to an absolute stranger versus your best friend, how different is that conversation? Same thing with this. If a patient has already given you money before and they love you, now you're just having a two-way discussion. It's just a two-way conversation. When you have a stranger patient from the internet who came in from a lead, now you're having a presentation. Now you're selling, like you're tap dancing. You know, I'll take this group any day, and they're a lot more forgiving. Your services not your results. Your services don't need to be spot on. When it's a stranger patient, they're looking at your Taj Mahal or lack thereof. They're looking at your phones. They're looking at your staff, what the staff's wearing. Did the staff show up with no makeup and a bun, a hair bun? It's surprising how staff show up for work nowadays. Just saying. But when you have a patient or a group that already knows, likes, and trusts you, they can forgive all of that because they just love you already. And I think we're getting close. So attracting new patients is complicated, technical, and lots of money. Do you know how with Tavar or whatever, do you know how he was showing all the money that goes into this, the SEO and the PPC and all of that? That is so true. If you're going to be in a competitive arena, you have to decide your strategy, and in today's world, your strategy should be, I need to be here, here, and here. I need to be strategic about it, but I would always let the numbers decide how much you need to be where. Because I just know you're wasting a lot of money you're guessing where it should be, where the patient should be coming from. The numbers will tell you where they're really coming from. Okay, and that's when you want cosmetic patients for life. That's how you do this. You turn a patient who loves you into 10 more patients because they referred, they reviewed, they gave you a good testimonial, they approved their before and after photos. That's how you do it. You build that flywheel. And you have a patient loyalty program. I happen to have one called Kiss Rewards Club. If you're interested, let me know. And that's that. Thanks so much.
The fastest way to success is to model other successful surgeons who have what you want, but you can only see their results, not the path they took to get there. So you continue to jump from one thing to another, hoping to find something that will work for you too. But it rarely does. So try this shortcut instead. It's guaranteed to move you forward. I compiled my intellectual property to grow cosmetic revenues, everything I've gleaned over the years, into one playbook of the most successful practices and what they do to win. Go to cosmeticpracticevault.com and let's grow your cosmetic revenues.